mafia into the ground. A political face-off has also erupted after the bulldozer was seen in action. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav questioned law and order in the state. But Yogi Adityanath again hit back, saying previous governments gave UP one district, one mafia, while their government has given, for example, one district, one product, which is a very popular scheme of the Yogi government. Time and again, we've seen bulldozers in action in the state. Yogi Adityanath government has always taken a stern stand against criminals, be it Prayagraj Don Atiq Ahmed or Bahubali Neta Mao Akhtar Ansari. Even Yogi's political campaign, remember, for the last UP Assembly elections was very much based on improving law and order in the state. The bulldozer had become his symbol. So is this bulldozer action, in this case, sending the right message to the mafia? And who and why should have any problems with it? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit, but let's just go back a little bit in time and understand what this latest row is all about. So Atiq Ahmed is a notorious don. He's accused in the 2005 BSP MLA murder case. On February 24 this year, key witness in that case, Umesh Pal, was murdered. According to the police, Atiq's son hatched the conspiracy. An FIR was registered against Atiq, who's in jail, and also his family members. One of the accused, Arbaz, has since been killed in a police encounter, and today Atiq's aide, Zafar Ahmed's house was also bulldozed. Let's also break down the big faces of this very filmy style shootout that took place, and then the very UP style encounter, and now the bulldozers that have come out in action. So Atiq Ahmed, he's the notorious mafia don come politician. He's been named in the FIR as well. He is believed to be the one at the behest of whom this entire murder plot was hatched. Atiq's brother is Ashraf, also named in the FIR. Assailants actually met him in jail. He's also in jail along with Atiq Ahmed. Atiq's wife, Shaista Parveen, also named in the FIR. She is an alleged co-conspirator as far as this case is concerned. Shadadat Khan, he's been pictured with several politicians across the political spectrum. He's clearly very well connected. And apparently, allegedly, the plot was hatched at his hostel. Now, one of Atiq's son, Asad, he's seen in the shootout murder, caught on camera, firing at Umesh. So he's one of the accused, currently absconding, we are told. Nafees Ahmed, another assailant, also owner of the Creta car that is seen in the shootout. Arbaz is a shooter. He's one of the accused. But as I mentioned earlier, he's one of the accused that has already been killed by the police in an encounter. Guddu Muslim is another shooter absconding. Muhammad Ghulam, another shooter who's absconding. All of these individuals are currently being looked at, but the center of the controversy is, of course, Atiq Ahmed. Politics has broken out in Uttar Pradesh. As expected over these developments, here is what both sides are saying. The government claims that they have zero tolerance as far as especially criminals or mafia in Uttar Pradesh is concerned, but the opposition alleges that law and order actually in Uttar Pradesh is in tatters. Hideouts of mafia are being raided. This is what the Yogi-led government says. Opposition says that actually fake encounters are now commonplace in Uttar Pradesh, and this is not really law. Government says gangsters are being shielded by the opposition, but the others have hit back saying that it's actually BJP leaders who have connections with criminals. So aside from the politics here, one thing the Yogi-led government cannot be accused of is being nice to mafia dons. In fact, both the terms of the BJP governments in Uttar Pradesh have been laced with regular showdowns with dons. So let me just enumerate them as well. Vikas Dubey, remember he had 61 criminal cases against him. He was killed in an encounter by the UP police. His property worth 50 crores was also seized. Mukhtar Ansari, BSP MLA, has over 40 criminal cases. He's lodged in UP's jail. His property worth 192 crore rupees is either demolished or seized. Atiq Ahmed, Don turned Neta, has over 100 criminal cases against him, lodged in a jail in Gujarat. His property worth 150 crore rupees has been attached. Sundar Bhati, lodged in Sonbhadra jail, has over 50 criminal cases against him. His property, vehicles worth 50 crore rupees have been seized. And there are some more examples. And this is apart from action against Azam Khan, for example, that has been in news, especially for recovering land allegedly grabbed by the politician. The big debate that's coming in today, as far as the bulldozer action is concerned, some are up in arms. Is this sending a right message, especially in this case to mafia, or is this just not the way that a state government should function?
अतीक अहमद के खिलाफ पीड़ित परिवारों ने मुकदमा दर्ज कराया उसके परिवार के खिलाफ, वो समाजवादी पार्टी के द्वारा पोषित माफिया है और उसकी कमर को तोड़ने का काम हमारी सरकार ने किया है।
देखिए, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर डायलॉग से नहीं ठीक होगा। लॉ एंड ऑर्डर किसी डायलॉग से नहीं ठीक हो सकता है कि मिट्टी में मिला देंगे। आपने मिट्टी में मिला देने के लिए कहा, अमेठी में 2 की हत्या हो गई।
हर समस्या के 2 समाधान होते हैं, भाग लो या भाग लो। उसका सामना करो, उस प्रकार की कार्य योजना बनाओ और उसके समाधान के स्तर पर पहुंचाओ, जैसे कि 6 वर्ष के अंदर किया गया।
पूरी तरह से कानून व्यवस्था ध्वस्त है, पूरी तरह से मुलजिम पकड़ नहीं पा रहे, सताए जाएंगे लोग, निर्दोष लोग सताए जाएंगे, असली मुलजिम पकड़ नहीं पा रहे।
Guest joining us on the show, Anila Singh of the BJP, Nahid Lari Khan is from the Samajwadi Party, Sudhendra Bhadoria, political analyst, leans towards the BSP, Arvind Kumar Jain is former UP DGP, Karan Verma, author and analyst, also joining us. Let me go across to Nahid first as the Samajwadi Party spokesperson. I want to understand exactly who has a problem with what has happened today or what has happened over the last few days. We know that these are mafia dons. They've had their writ run large in Uttar Pradesh. If the government is cracking down on them, should anyone have a problem, Nahid?
Shivani ji, it doesn't seem that there is government on one side and gang on one side. It seems that both sides they are gang. One side there is that original gang and one side is BJP gang. One side, one gang is shooting and throwing bombs and murdering people openly in broad daylight, and there is another gang which is running bulldozer. This is not the way the government functions.
But is it fair? Is it fair to equate the government's bulldozer action against what they claim are illegal properties built illegally with what a don does or what a mafia people in a shootout do? Is this a fair comparison?
Shivani ji, at least if you have asked me to speak, then at least allow me at least 2 minutes to speak uninterrupted, then you can come to question me.
Go ahead, madam.
See, this is Honorable Supreme Court has said for Yogi Sarkar that there is Jungle Raj in UP, and there is this the language of Jungle Raj. This is the language of Jungle Raj that the MP of BJP and the Minister of BJP is saying that gaadi palat jayegi. This is not the language of a Kanun Raj. This is not the language of a law Raj. This is the language of Jungle Raj. In Jungle Raj, a person openly says that if you behead this one, I will give you 25 lakh rupees. If you behead that one, I will give you 1 crore rupees. And openly in media, and no action is taken against this person. He is not arrested. They are not arrested. Why? Because there is no fear. There is no fear in them. This is known as Jungle Raj. This is the language of Jungle Raj. There is no fear in them.
Okay.
And then you're talking about bulldozers. See, I also have seen in news, just today so many news has shown that the bulldozer action that has been taken place is not Atiq's house. It is
his aide's house.
ANI reporter Zafar Ahmed's house, and he had rented his house to senior BSP leader Shaista Parveen, who also happens to be Atiq's wife. And senior BSP leader Shaista Parveen has rented this house because her mica is right in front of this house. So this is not the way. And if you see that there is no law and order in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, I'll come to that one by one. Let me take Anila Singh's response. Anila Singh, the opposition today is saying that it's actually gang versus gang. The government is not behaving like a government. The government is behaving like a gangster.
My Ram Ram to everyone, and I am not at all surprised the language which is being used by Samajwadi Party spokesperson, because this is the character of Samajwadi Party and they understand this language only, language of mafia, don, gunda, aparadhi, and because they indulge with these people, so definitely they are going to use the same language as these people uses the language.
What about the government action? Is this how a government behaves?
What government has done wrong? I mean, this. Let me tell you one thing here, Shivani. Whether we talk about Miss Larry Khan or any of their any of their spokesperson, or to say the BSP spokesperson or the Congress spokesperson, they have got they are full of nonsense and lack of knowledge. This particular house,
Only knowledge you have.
I'm surprised when an reporter owns a house of 4 crores. But let me tell you here, this house was demolished because it was not made according to the guidelines of Prayagraj Development Authority. So any building which does not goes according to the guidelines of Development Authority, then authority has got full right.
No. One second. Let me come in. It's convenient. Anila saying that the authorities remember when there is a case brewing. इतने सालों से authorities को नहीं याद आ रहा था कि guidelines नहीं meet हो रही थी. सडनली कुछ कांड हो जाता है उत्तर प्रदेश में, तो सडनली बुलडोजर आ जाता है, आप सब चिट्ठा पिट्ठा निकाल देते हैं, किसका इलीगल है किसका नहीं है, बाद में पता चलता है नोटिस भेजा गया था या नहीं भेजा गया था. ये क्या तरीका होता है? ये पोस्ट रियलाइजेशन क्यों होती है आपको?
आपको अच्छे से समझिएगा शिवानी जी. 4,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा की ये जो माफिया ये डॉन और ये क्रिमिनल्स हैं, इनकी प्रॉपर्टीज को कॉन्फिस्केट किया गया है या डिमोलिश किया गया है. ये क्या आपको लगता है कि एक दिन में हो जाती हैं? The thing is, you should appreciate even if action is taken in today's date, action is being taken.
But how?
The reality
is there no maryada of the law, of the regulations for the government? आप घर तोड़ देते हो लोगों का.
जी
मैं कह रही हूँ कि क्या कोई मर्यादा नहीं होती इस तरह के एक्शन की?
नहीं, ये बहुत अच्छी मर्यादा है कि आप कानून तोड़िए, ये बहुत अच्छी मर्यादा है. अथॉरिटीज अपना काम लीगली तरीके से करें, वो मर्यादित नहीं.
गाड़ी पलटने वाली बात ऑल्सो प्लीज आस्क.
कानून नहीं माने आप मर्यादित हैं, और जो कानून से काम करें वो अमर्यादित है. What is this definition?
Because that's the difference between the government and a gangster that Mr. Nari is talking about. But let me bring in Sudhindra Bhadoria here. The government. One second, I'll come back to you on the Gadi comment also, Sudhindra Bhadoria. Why should anyone have a problem, especially when in this case, the ones who are facing the brunt of the law, whether it is applied belatedly or not, the ones who are facing the action are actually dons or their aides. Why should anyone have sympathy? Why should anyone have a problem?
Well, let me put your debate in perspective. You see, as far as the common citizens are concerned in this country, and more particularly in Uttar Pradesh, they expect that there shall be a certain amount of law and order. They will be free to go about and do their activities. We have seen that of late, particularly, there has been an issue of law and order, and that has to be handled. And there should be fear of law as well. I think as far as the constitution is concerned, the guidelines are laid, the CRPC is there, the IPC is there, and under these provisions, the people who are indulging in activities which is against the law, which is against the common citizens of this state of Uttar Pradesh, the government must act. I think all criminals, they have no caste or no religion. The criminals are criminals and they should be dealt with iron hands. And as far as ordinary citizens are concerned, they want action to be taken, and whichever be the criminal.
So
now, as far as
do you believe that these actions by the government are being politicized unnecessarily then? That also the caste and the religion of these so-called people who face the brunt is being brought in by the opposition unnecessarily then?
Well, you see, if there is this kind of action which is against the law, against the constitution, the Supreme Court is there, the high courts are available, other courts remedies are available, they are free to go there, and I'm quite sure the law of the land will protect them. But if they are criminals, hardcore criminals, why should we support them?
Exactly.
I think there is no reason that any sympathy should be shown to any criminal.
Which is why there is no sympathy on the ground, and the opposition finds itself. For example, the Samajwadi Party finds itself on the wrong side of the public mood. Yogi Adityanath wasn't voted back because he wasn't going to act against quote-unquote criminals and mafias. Nariji, very quickly, I'll allow you 30 seconds. You are the ones who are sounding out of touch with what the public wants. Fundamentally, the public has reposed faith in Yogi Adityanath to actually sort out the law and order. Like he said today, earlier there was one district, one mafia. Today there is one district, one product.
Shivani ji, if you talk about BJP is not a party. It is a gang. It is a giroh. It's a tolly of gangsters. It's a tolly of dacoits. It's a tolly of mafia, bhrashtacharis, rapists. It's a tolly. It's a gang. And right now, I wanted to ask Anila ji, what sort of a language is this? That one of the MP of BJP was saying, जैसे विकास दुबे की गाड़ी पलटी वैसी, मतलब openly he is accepting.
Yes, Anila ji, respond to that.
BJP सरकार ने गाड़ी पलटाई.
Should MPs be talking like this?
I appeal from Honorable Supreme Court to take suo motu cognizance of this MP and take strict action against.
Okay, let her respond. Let her respond. Otherwise, we won't be able to hear her. Let her respond. You both can't speak at the same time. Anila ji, respond. What kind of language or insinuation is this from an MP? This is not what we elect lawmakers for. That is also true.
No insinuation, Shivani. He has exercised his right to speech. उनकी मनोकामना है, उनकी मन की इच्छा है कि गाड़ी पलट सकती है, उन्होंने बोल दिया. राइट टू स्पीच इन्हीं लोगों का होता है क्या?
बीजेपी के जो लोग जंगल राज. This is not the language of Kanun Raj. This is not the language of law and order. This means that there is no law and order in Uttar Pradesh. It shows that there is jungle Raj in Uttar Pradesh where everybody is speaking what they want to do. Everybody is doing what they want to do.
Let her finish. Let her finish. We cannot hear both of you at the same time. Let her finish. Both your audios are not coming at the same time. Anila ji, please finish.
is with Akhilesh Yadav. So Samajwadi Party is very scared. Right to speech अगर कोई एक्सरसाइज करता है साहब, केवल आपका अधिकार नहीं होता है, इस भारतवर्ष में रहने वाले हर नागरिक का होता है. ये संविधान ने
नहीं, ये राइट टू स्पीच की बात नहीं है. राइट टू स्पीच तो उनका है, इसलिए वो बोल दिया, उनके ऊपर कोई एक्शन भी नहीं हो सकेगा. बट देयर इज अ सर्टेन मैसेज दैट दोज इन पावर नीड टू सेंड. Arvind Kumar Jain, is the government sending the right message, or is the message coming from the government also laced with a little bit of a problem?
Government is sending the right message. Government has given the message that if you indulge in crime, if you indulge in mafia activities, drastic action shall be taken against you because you have already violated law. This house has been demolished under Section 27 of Urban Planning Act of Uttar Pradesh. Several notices had been issued that this is illegal construction. There is no map of this house. This house was being used by shooters of this Umesh Pal murder and of gunner yes. Sanjay Nishad, young gunner of Uttar Pradesh police. So why the house should not be demolished? Because it's illegal construction. Prayagraj Development Authority asked for police support because otherwise they would have been massacred in that locality. Police support was provided to them. Prayagraj Development Authority has demolished and they have full right to do it. They have full papers with them. Now the message has gone to all the criminals, to all the people who have violated law in Uttar Pradesh, that if you indulge in crime, you shall be dealt with like this. Okay. I agree with this. हमें जब सर्विस में आया सिखाया गया था कि किसी भी भले आदमी को मत छेड़िए, पर अगर कोई आपको छेड़ता है तो उसको मत छोड़िए. तो ये पॉलिसी अपनाई जा रही है. I agree with this and drastic action is being taken against these criminals. Yeah. Okay. And
Karan Verma, this is what makes Yogi Adityanath popular. He knows exactly what the UP government, the people want, because the public has suffered for far too long at the hands of these quote-unquote mafias and criminals and dons, and they were untouchable for a very long time. Nobody can deny that.
Shivani, I have waited patiently, so I just hope nobody interrupts. I want to put some facts here on board. 61% dacoity cases have come down ever since Yogi has taken as Chief Minister. Robbery cases, 81% down. 54% reduction in crime against women. These are NCRB figures that I'm quoting. 59% conviction in cases against women. Number one state in the country. The national average is 26%. Now, there's been a lot of brouhaha about the use of bulldozer and all these things. A.K. Jain Saab rightly pointed out the Prayagraj Development Authority, how they did it. There are other provisions also by which this has happened. I want to point that out. The Gangsters Act. The use of Gangsters Act has risen by 44%, and rightly so. I'll give you an instance of Ram Navami. Last year in Ram Navami, where states like Rajasthan and Jharkhand were facing a crisis, UP did not face that much of a crisis because it was implemented. We need preventive action, and the Yogi government has implemented the Gangster Act. Section 14 of the Gangster Act allows us to confiscate properties of gangsters. Again, Section 83 of the CRPC Acts, in case there is an absconder, the government is very well within its purview to attach the property. They've also passed the Compensation for Damage to Public and Private Property Act in 2020. So the Yogi government is very much going by the rule book, and it's sending out a stern message, which is also producing rich results at the ground. You must understand, UP has made record investment in police infrastructure, in recruitment. So let's understand this. UP is actually, for the first time, a return of law and order. We were done with the Nahid Hassans of the world. We were done with the party, the Samajwadi Party, which had a soft corner for Waliullah Khan, a man who was sentenced to death and they tried to release. Leave aside criminals and mafias, Samajwadi Party had a soft corner for terror accused. For Varanasi blast, they wanted to release them. So this is a welcome change, and UP is ready to embrace that.
Can I ask Sudhindra Bhadoria that this is exactly what UP politics needs now, and parties in the past, parties in power in the past in UP, like the Samajwadi Party and the BSP, were guilty of sheltering exactly these elements for far too long?
Well, I don't agree with this premise of yours. I think there is criminalization of politics, and you will find criminals in all political parties. You can't be partisan about criminalization of being of one party or the other alone. There are, of course, criminals in various political parties, and we have to do away with the criminalization of politics and the criminals within the political system, and for which stern law is required. We have to have electoral reforms. We must ban these criminals from contesting elections, and huge money power is there with these criminals, and therefore they get into the election fray. I think all political parties, and whichever be the government, let the government take a lead in this matter and try and see. This debate has been going there for a long time, for last many decades, but no government, any government which is in power, they do speak against the criminals, but while in power they don't take any steps to do away with the criminalization of politics.
That's what my point was. It wasn't about those with criminal antecedents in politics alone. My point was that when governments are in power, why are they not coming down like a ton of bricks with the legal provisions on these mafias and gangsters and dons and confiscate their properties, which is what the Yogi government is doing now. And politically, you can accuse him of bulldozer politics or whatever. Ultimately, this was working on the ground in Uttar Pradesh. That's what he's been voted for. And there seems to be little sympathy for the other side. I leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us for our top debate. Moving on to the other big story we've been tracking over the past week. It's been 6 days since radical preacher Amritpal's mob ran riot in Ajnala in Amritsar. The police station was taken captive by the mob, demanding release of his aide Lovepreet Tufan. A day later, the police succumbed and released the aide due to, quote, lack of evidence. Punjab police had claimed that since the attackers used Guru Granth Sahib as a shield, they didn't use the kind of force they otherwise would have. This after the state police came under severe criticism for allowing Amritpal and goons to run riot. Later, Amritpal issued another warning to the police and said that if any action is taken against them, they will again stage a similar kind of protest. Amid all of this, Shiromani Akali Dal accused the Aam Aadmi Party government of playing a fixed match. Bikram Singh Majithia of the SAD called the attack pre-planned. He said all of this is being done to create a Hindu-Sikh divide with the sole aim of polarization of votes. Bikram Singh Majithia is now joining us for an exclusive conversation. Mr. Majithia, General Secretary of the SAD, is with us. You say that the police is playing a fixed match, or all of this was pre-planned. The DGP says that the only reason they didn't go hard against Amritpal and his followers is because they had given a permission for a religious procession. The rioters abused that permission. They wanted to maintain the maryada of the Guru Granth that they were carrying and therefore handled the case with sensitivity. Why do you feel that the police's response has been lacking? You've said the DGP is going weak in his knees. Mr. Majithia.
First, you have to realize one thing, that I am in my lifetime, or if I go back in history, even in those dark days of terrorism, there's never been an incident where a police station has been taken over by people who have broken the law. It has never been the case. Now, if a news like that comes out of Kashmir, there is such a hue and cry, and obviously all is not well in the state. Now, for a DGP to say that we didn't do this because there was because of certain reasons, my first question, that is why I'm saying that there is a fixed match. Now, for the last 5 days, he's been threatening that he is going to be going to the Janala Thana. Where was the police? Was the DGP sleeping? Or was he being held back by his rulers that don't take any action? The DGP, a couple of months ago, the government comes out with a directive that anybody seen with a weapon on a social media platform or anybody firing from his legal weapon in the air will be booked. People got booked. There was a little boy from my constituency, again on the border in Majithia, whose 10-year-old photograph was taken out and he was booked. His name is Gurnaz for holding a weapon. And I'm going to show this photograph. I don't know if you can see it. It's a blurred photograph. I can send you the color thing to it. This boy, he was booked for holding this weapon. Now, my question to the DGP is that you made a statement that if there's anybody with weapons who's showing arms, they need to remove that from their social media Facebook account, otherwise they will be booked. How is a person roaming around with weapons, semi-automatic, automatic weapons, and that also a permissible cartridges per weapon is 25? They are roaming around with 300, 400 cartridges on them, and they are talking to the SSP with guns pointed towards the police chief of the district. So isn't this stage managed? Isn't this a fixed match? And isn't this to divert attention? Won't it lead to polarization? Because Punjab has a long history of being a border state, national security issues. The chief minister himself has admitted that yes, Pakistan is fomenting trouble, and we all know that it's been happening for a very long time. In that sort of a situation, do you want another Hindu-Sikh issue coming out of Punjab? What has happened in the last 1 year?
No, but when you say that this was a fixed match, the police didn't do and what it needed to do, obviously your allegation is that the present-day government didn't do what it needed to do. But why do you believe that there is a fixed match? Why would the government let somebody like Amritpal run riot?
Shivani ji, please answer my question. If people can be booked for weapons display on a Facebook post, how is somebody carrying 20 weapons, that also semi-automatic weapons? Who gave him the license in the first place?
ये बीजेपी की एक स्कूल ठीक नहीं कर पाई। ये 30-30, 35-35 साल से इनकी सरकारें चल रही हैं। एक स्कूल, एक अस्पताल ये लोग ठीक नहीं कर पाए। तो अब क्या करें? तो इनको रोको, केजरीवाल की सरकार को रोको, आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार को रोको, इनको अच्छे काम मत करने दो। अच्छे काम, ये कोई इत्तेफाक नहीं है कि एजुकेशन और हेल्थ में हमारा सबसे अच्छा काम हुआ और एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर और हेल्थ मिनिस्टर को अंदर कर दिया गया। तो शराब नीति तो बहाना है, काम रोकना इनका असली मकसद है। आज मैं दिल्ली की जनता को यह आश्वासन देना चाहता हूं और देश की जनता को आश्वासन देना चाहता हूं, काम नहीं रुकेगा। दिल्ली का अच्छा काम जारी रहेगा। पहले अगर हम 80 की स्पीड पे से चल रहे थे तो अब 150 की स्पीड से चलेगा काम। हमने अपने दोनों मंत्रियों को इन्होंने जेल में डाला है, दोनों मंत्री बदल दिए। आतिशी जी और सौरभ भारद्वाज दोनों शानदार लोग हैं, प्रोफेशनल लोग हैं, पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, अच्छी एजुकेशन वाले लोग हैं। ये दोनों अब संभालेंगे। जो अच्छा काम सिसोदिया जी और जैन साहब कर रहे थे, वो अच्छा काम अब ये दुगनी गति के साथ चलेगा। किसी हालत में हम काम को रुकने नहीं देंगे। एक प्रश्न उठता है, अगर मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने एजुकेशन में अच्छा काम नहीं किया होता तो क्या मोदी जी मनीष सिसोदिया को गिरफ्तार करते? नहीं करते। मनीष सिसोदिया जी को गिरफ्तार इसलिए किया गया क्योंकि उन्होंने एजुकेशन में अच्छा काम किया था, वो काम रोकना था मोदी जी को। अगर सतिंदर जैन ने हेल्थ के अंदर अच्छा काम नहीं किया होता तो क्या उन्हें गिरफ्तार किया जाता? नहीं किया जाता। मकसद यह था कि सतिंदर जैन के हेल्थ के अंदर जो अच्छा काम कर रहा था उसको रोकना था, इसीलिए गिरफ्तार किया गया। एक और बात उठती है, आज अगर मनीष सिसोदिया जी बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर लें तो क्या वो कल उनकी रिहाई नहीं हो जाएगी? छूट जाएंगे वो, कल ही छूट जाएंगे वो, सारे मुकदमे सारे खत्म। आज अगर सतिंदर जैन बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर ले तो सारे मुकदमे खत्म, कल वो जेल से बाहर आ जाएंगे। तो भ्रष्टाचार तो मुद्दा है ही नहीं, उनका मुद्दा तो काम रोकना है और विपक्ष के जितने लोग हैं उन लोगों के ऊपर सीबीआई और ईडी भेज के उनको परेशान करना है। अभी मैं पिछले 3-4 दिन से जनता से खूब बात हुई है, मेरी हजारों लोगों से बात हुई है और मैंने कई लोग भेजे जनता के बीच में पता करने के लिए कि मैंने अभी एमएलएज के साथ भी मीटिंग की, काउंसलर्स के साथ भी मीटिंग की, उसमें भी मैंने उनके राय जानी। जनता में भारी रोष है, जनता में इतना ज़्यादा रोष है, जनता कह रही है ये कर क्या रहे हैं बीजेपी वाले। मतलब जिसको मर्जी पकड़ के जेल में डाल देते हैं, जिसको मर्जी पकड़ के जेल में डाल देते हैं। जनता में बहुत ज़्यादा रोष है। आम आदमी पार्टी को ये रोकना चाहते हैं। जब से हम पंजाब जीते हैं इनसे बर्दाश्त नहीं हो रहा। तो मैं उनको कहना चाहता हूँ, इन लोगों को, बीजेपी वालों को, आम आदमी पार्टी आंधी है, आंधी। अब ये किसी के रोके रुकने वाली नहीं है। नो वन कैन स्टॉप द आइडिया हुज टाइम हैज़ कम एंड आम आदमी पार्टीज टाइम हैज़ कम। अभी हमारी काफ़ी चर्चा हुई है। एक और चीज़ है, ये पूरा शराब नीति वाला अगर घोटाला है, ये क्या है? अगर एक आम आदमी की भाषा में समझा जाए तो शराब नीति का घोटाला क्या है? बड़ा टेक्निकल है, आम आदमी को समझ नहीं आता। मैं आपको 4 लाइन में समझा देता हूँ। ये लोग आरोप लगा रहे हैं कि मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने शराब की दुकान वालों से पैसे खाए। यही तो आरोप है, मोटे मोटे तौर पे आरोप तो यही है। इसीलिए उनको मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने शराब वालों से कह रहे हैं, आरोप लगा रहे हैं कि शराब वालों से कोई, किसी डिबेट में कह देते हैं 100 करोड़ खाए, किसी डिबेट में कह देते हैं 1000 करोड़ खाए, किसी में कह देते हैं 10,000 करोड़ खाए। इन्होंने मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर पे रेड मार ली, सारे गद्दे फाड़ दिए, दीवारें तोड़ दी, कभी दीवारों में छुपा रखा हो पैसा। मनीष सिसोदिया जी के चाचे पे, ताऊ पे, मामे पे, ताऊ मौसी पे, सब पे रेड मार ली इन्होंने। बैंक लॉकर देख लिए, कुछ नहीं मिला। भाई जो आदमी 100 करोड़ रुपए खा गया उसके घर में करोड़ 2 करोड़ तो बिखरे हुए ही मिल जाते हैं। लाख 2 लाख 10 लाख रुपए तो यूं ही मिल जाते हैं। मनीष सिसोदिया के 10,000 रुपए नहीं मिले, 10,000 रुपए नहीं मिले उसके घर पे, उसके बैंक लॉकर में कुछ नहीं मिला। कोई आदमी 100 करोड़ रुपए दबा जाएगा, अपनी वाइफ के लिए थोड़े बहुत जेवर खरीदेगा, कुछ जेवर नहीं मिले, कुछ नहीं मिला, तो पैसे गए कहाँ? तो कहाँ से मिलेंगे पैसे जब खाए नहीं? ये पूरा घोटाला है, ये पूरे आरोप है। आने वाले समय में ये तय हुआ है आज सभी एमएलएज और इसके साथ कि दिल्ली के डोर टू डोर कैंपेन करेगी आम आदमी पार्टी। एक एक घर में जाएंगे हम, एक एक व्यक्ति से बात करेंगे और हम समझाएंगे कि किस तरह से, जैसे एक जमाने में इंदिरा गांधी ने अति कर दी थी, आज प्रधानमंत्री जी अति कर रहे हैं। और जब अति हो जाती है तो फिर प्रकृति अपना काम करती है, फिर ऊपर वाला अपना चक्कर चलाता है, ऊपर वाला फिर अपनी झाड़ू चलाता है। अब इन्होंने अति कर दिया, ये अति ठीक नहीं है। तो जनता को एक एक घर में जाएंगे, जनता को समझाएंगे और जनता इसका जवाब देगी। जनता सारा देख रही है, जनता में बहुत भारी रोष है। अभी जरूरत पड़ेगी, देखेंगे।
डोर टू डोर कब से शुरू होगा सर? क्या आप भी जनता के बीच में जाके ये मैसेज देंगे?
सारे नेता उतरेंगे, जमीन पे सारे नेता उतरेंगे, नुक्कड़ सभाएं करेंगे, जनता के बीच में जाएंगे, जन संवाद करेंगे और पूरे देश के अंदर होगा।
कहा जा रहा है आप दिल्ली में फंस जाएंगे क्या?
नहीं, बिल्कुल, मैं 4 तारीख सैटरडे संडे जा रहा हूँ बाहर, आप चलना सारे मेरे साथ। वो यही तो चाहते थे कि काम रुक जाए, काम रुकने नहीं देंगे, किसी हालत में 1 मिनट के लिए काम नहीं रुकेगा।
Many people are asking that you had a national plan, national agenda. Now that 2 of your best ministers are in jail, how will you carry on with your national agenda?
हमारे पास वो बहुत वॉलंटियर्स हैं, जनता साथ है, आप साथ हैं हमारे। ऑब्वियसली वी विल मिस आवर लीडर्स, लेकिन और बहुत लीडर्स हैं। अब तो पंजाब में बहुत लीडर्स हैं, दिल्ली में बहुत लीडर्स हैं, गुजरात में बहुत लीडर्स हैं और देश के कोने कोने से लोग जुड़ते जा रहे हैं। जनता, करोड़ों लोग साथ जुड़ रहे हैं।
सर, विभाग की अगर बात करें तो मनीष जी के पास 18 विभाग अभी थे, तो सौरभ जी और आतिश जी का आपने नाम लिया, तो क्या इन दोनों में ही ये विभाग डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होंगे?
अभी देखते हैं, थोड़ा सा हो सकता है ये रेजिग्नेशन एक्सेप्ट होने में और 2 नए मंत्रियों के नाम ओथ लेने में अभी तक एक्सपीरियंस है कि 20-25 दिन का टाइम लग जाता है। तो ये जो कल विभाग दोनों में बांटे गए, ये टेम्पोररी है 20-25 दिन के लिए, उसके बाद एक थोड़ा सा रीशफल कर लेंगे सबको बराबर बराबर से।
अगर इस्तीफा जल्दी आ जाता तो क्या हम जो सदन बुलाया जाएगा अभी बजट सत्र, उससे पहले भी ये रीशफल देख सकते हैं?
हाँ, वो उसका सत्र से कोई लेना नहीं।
दिल्ली में भी कई काम हो रहे हैं, आश्रम फ्लाईओवर भी खुला था डिप्टी सीएम द्वारा,
वो 3-4 दिन में वो तो उसमें कुछ है, वो डिप्टी सीएम की वजह से नहीं रुका। वो आज
वो दौरा भी करने गए थे।
वो नहीं, मैं बता देता हूँ, मैंने आज ही पूछा था तो वो बता रहे हैं उसमें कुछ छोटे मोटे है, मंडे को शायद उसका इनॉग्रेशन होगा।
सर, बीजेपी आरोप लगा रही है कि शराब नीति की आंच आप तक आएगी और आपके ऊपर आपके पोस्टर और आपको लेकर टारगेट किया।
उनको कहने दीजिए, जब इंदिरा गांधी ने अति करी थी उन लोगों को भी ऐसा ही घमंड हुआ था। जब जब कोई इतिहास गवाह है कि जब जब किसी राजा को अति घमंड हो जाता है, अहंकार हो जाता है बहुत ज़्यादा, तो इसी तरह की हरकतें करते हैं वो लोग। देयर इज नो क्राइसिस, नंबर 1। एंड आम आदमी पार्टी क्या है, हम क्या हैं? हम कुछ भी नहीं हैं। आज आम आदमी पार्टी देश के लिए जो कर रही है, लोगों के लिए जो काम कर रही है, वो ज़रूरी है, उस काम का फैलना ज़रूरी है।
सर, ये कैंपेन कब से शुरू होगा?
ये नेक्स्ट वीक से। यही तो, वो यही चाहते हैं, ये नहीं होगा। थैंक यू।
That's Arvind Kejriwal speaking in the national capital. There's another kind of crisis the Aam Aadmi Party is dealing with in the national capital. But Arvind Kejriwal is displaying supreme confidence that there's not going to be any issue for the party as questions have come up. But I want to go back across to Bikram Singh Majithia, who continues to be with us. Thanks a lot for that. I was asking you earlier, you say that there's a fixed match going on between the police and the state government in Punjab. But why would the state government do so? That's my question. Why would they allow somebody to run riot like this? Because ultimately they will look bad.
Shiromani ji, please answer my question. If people can be booked for weapons display on a Facebook post, how is somebody carrying 20 weapons, that also semi-automatic weapons? Who gave him the license in the first place? How is he carrying those weapons all over Punjab or interstate? I want an inquiry into who has issued these licenses to them. And if a display of a weapon is a crime on a social media page, and how a carrying of a weapon is allowed. Secondly, you tell me one thing. Have you ever heard, isn't this a constitutional crisis that a police station gets taken over by people who have been booked for a crime? And how did this gentleman, who is, I say it again and again, he tries to copy Sant Jarnail Singh Pindrawala. He's not. He's a duplicate. He's a pass. He's created. And there are reasons, there are separate reasons for it. But I want to ask the police, isn't this a total collapse? The man traveled 60 kilometers from where he was, that Jallupur Kheda, his village, to Ajnala. He had announced it 5 days in advance. What was the police doing? Were they sleeping or were they encouraging him? Then, there are like 15 police stations on the way.
Okay.
The entire police headquarters from Majithia is on the way. He's given a pre-run to create this trouble. So why will I say it's not a fixed match?
But a lot of people believe that the central agencies have also been caught napping, or they should have swept into action. There are question marks on how this man came to India only a year ago and became so popular. Don't you believe the central agencies and the central government needs to step in?
Shivani ji, he's been propped up. I disagree with the fact that he's become popular. Yes, there is a section in Punjab that feels they've been feeling this for a very long time, that they've been wronged. And yes, we feel we have been wronged on number of issues, whether it's the state capital, whether it is the river water issues, or whether it was the farm laws, number of issues. Let that be on one side. But this comes down to law and order. How did he, firstly, a clean-shaven man becomes a baptized person? There are photographs of him being clean-shaven, living a good life, enjoying pubbing, partying, doing everything that a baptized person should not be doing, then uses the Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. You must realize one thing, that Shri Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj is the living Guru for us. And a living Guru is respected and revered with folded hands, with a lot of humility. For two people commenting on social media, it's like two kids fighting. What was this entire fight about? It's his person accusing him on something on social media. Two kids, it was literally like two kids got into a fight. They bashed up the other fellow. That guy went to the police station and got a case registered. The police first registers the case because they found all the contents to be true.
Yes.
They arrest certain individuals.
And then they
and
later
that is why
release
again
him.
call it a fixed match.
Okay.
That why if first you investigated the matter and you found everything to be true, and then you did the parcha, and then suddenly you want to backtrack. Now, but the issue is that they were fighting like two little kids on comments on a social media. Do you use the Guru Sahib for that? You can take the blessings of Guru Sahib that the truth may win, but you're not going to take the Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj and go bashing up barricades and hitting people who are unarmed, because Guru Sahib has always preached Sarbatta Pala. That is what has been our daily ardas.
Yes.
This is again the basic principles of Sikhism. The man does not understand Sikhism.
Okay, but you keep saying that he's being propped up. So who has propped him up? You're not answering that question very clearly.
Shivani ji, a lot of things, if I say today, I'm already, there are a lot of people gunning for me for various reasons for speaking the truth. But you tell me one thing, you sit back and answer these, you'll get the answers yourself. If there is polarization in Punjab, who will benefit? You will get the answer. And is Bhagwant Mann, there are two things. Either he's dumb, he's stupid, he doesn't realize he's playing with fire, and eventually all this is going to result into the same troubled days that we've experienced in the past, because it will go out of hand. It's like the Osama story. First there's a talk that he was propped up and then he was out of control. It's the same thing. How can a man who's not even an Indian citizen, who was not even a baptized Sikh, he was a man who used to be big time into clubbing and partying. We've seen those photographs. Today is coming here and he is being funded. The man had nothing. If you go back to what his family, it was few acres of land.
Okay.
And today he roams around in cars worth 1 crore or 2 crore rupees. Where did the money come from? How is everybody turning a blind eye to it? I question all governments because it pains me. I can't have seen those dark days. And I don't want a return of those dark days because it doesn't help Punjab.
You're asking all the right questions, and those questions we've asked over the past week too, but you're not answering my question directly. Who do you hold responsible for this Amritpal suddenly taking over and running riot? The central government or the state government?
The governments. I hold both governments responsible. Law and order, to maintain peace, law and order is a primary responsibility of the state government. But if the state government is not doing its job, then I guess the central government also needs to step in. But they are both, they want the Aam Aadmi Party to get discredited and then control the situation, and it helps polarization. A lot of things will happen with that. So there is a lot of politics being played, but who's going to suffer? The people of Punjab. It's a border state. It's always been an issue. And do you realize one thing? On that day, the day this incident happened, there were 45% hotel bookings cancellation. Now it affected how many lives? Already there's no industry coming in.
Okay.
If religious tourism was doing well, you hit that on the head. You've ensured that it goes for a toss.
Okay.
Why should we suffer at the cost of someone's politics?
Okay, so you're clearly saying this is someone else's politics. Who benefits if there's polarization? We'll leave it at that. Bikram Singh Majithia, thanks a lot for joining us. These are going to be very important, tough questions for the state of Punjab ahead. Now, China is facing some tough questions on the COVID front too. New intelligence has prompted the US Energy Department to conclude that an accidental laboratory leak in China most likely caused the coronavirus pandemic. The shift by the Energy Department, which previously was undecided, has raised fresh questions over China, which has already rejected any suggestion that COVID leaked from its Wuhan lab. According to the US Energy Department report, COVID-19 virus most likely arose from a laboratory in China. The development was notified via a classified intelligence report, which was recently provided to the White House too. The report highlights how different parts of the intelligence community have arrived at different judgments about the pandemic's origin. Earlier, though, the FBI in the US had also concluded the virus resulted from a lab leak in China. The agency still holds on to that view. The Energy Department's conclusion is the result of new intelligence, it says, but we don't know what that new intelligence is. And it is significant because the agency has considerable scientific experience. China has denied any such suggestions that it was artificially created or manipulated in a lab. Here is what they are claiming on COVID-19's origins. The Chinese authorities have suggested the outbreak started at the seafood market in Wuhan that sells live animals. Chinese officials have argued that the genetic sequence of the virus suggests a natural origin and that it is similar to other coronaviruses found in bats and pangolins. Beijing has claimed that it has cooperated fully with international investigations, although others don't believe so. China has also emphasized the global responsibility of all countries in fighting the pandemic. It wants the origins of the coronavirus also to be investigated in countries like the US. And particularly, they've been critical of some countries, including the US, of politicizing the pandemic and spreading conspiracy theories about the virus. So as far as COVID origins go, are we any closer to getting to the truth? We will be joined by whistleblower Chinese virologist Dr. Li Meng Yan, who was one of the first to say that the coronavirus was not just the fact that it leaked, but it was purposefully leaked out of the Wuhan lab. Dr. Li Meng Yan, thanks a lot for joining us. You've seen this report. You believe that actually it wasn't an accidental leak, because that's not possible, that the coronavirus was purposefully leaked. What do you make of this new US report and the Chinese response to it?
Hi, thank you for the invite. And first, I want to say it was not an accident from the beginning. And I was working in such biosafety level 3 lab in Hong Kong University. And I can tell you, working in such lab using coronavirus is very strict. So according to the protocol and surveillance system, even they worked in Wuhan, doesn't mean it's possible that this kind of leak could happen accidentally from Wuhan. And based on all the other evidence and my source, I believe that this was intentionally released out of the lab for certain purpose. And it was conducted by CCP and the Chinese military. And also later it became outbreak in Wuhan, somehow out of control. And finally, China intentionally spread it all over the world.
Why would they do so though? Why would the Chinese military, as you're accusing, release a virus like this? Because they would also know that this can go out of control.
Yeah, so that's why I said there are many reasons they can do it. First, this virus was designed as a novel bioweapon, which I defined as unrestricted bioweapon. according to People's Liberation Army's textbook written by their bioweapon general, so they describe that if you want to get the best, to optimize the bioweapon, the best way is to do the trial in the same environment as your enemy would stay. That means a human, that living area. And also, at that time, what we know for sure is Chinese military have already conducted many exercises, including one in September 2019 to practice the novel coronavirus happened in China. So there are a lot of reasons. We definitely need to ask CCP for the final reason.
Final question, Dr. Yan. The evidence to prove any of this is hard to come by. Now, the US Energy Department believes they have some new evidence. The world does not know about it. What could this new evidence, do you think, be? And can we actually prove what you're suggesting? Or is it too late already?
I won't think it's late because still now we are still working on the thorough investigation on COVID origin. I don't know what the new evidence they mean at this moment, but I would believe that if there are evidence, we should all have this kind of opportunity to examine it, because there are some fake evidence come from China or CCP's ally to avoid this kind of fake evidence to mislead the origin investigation. When it's the timing, people should get the opportunity to check the evidence, and we can give them the opinions as a Chinese virologist.
Apart from the fact that you say this was purposefully released by the military for their own checks and study and research, you also say China purposefully delayed the alarm on the virus. It allowed the virus to spread across the world. Now, that is something that can indeed be proved. Don't you think China owes the world, at least on that parameter, that there must be greater moral responsibility that China should take?
Of course, because when it happened in Wuhan, even it was out of control, I believe there were enough opportunities for China government to stop this transmission. However, they did nothing. Instead, they cover it up. They shut up the silence these doctors, and also they later spread it all over the world. And now millions of people die all over the world because of COVID-19, and a lot of other kind of consequences followed by this pandemic also damage the world. So of course, Xi Jinping and his regime and the people involved into development and also the misinformation in the COVID-19 pandemic deserve to be deserve the trial.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Dr. Li Meng Yan, thanks a lot for joining us. Remains to be seen whether world global authorities are able to actually put China in the dock for the COVID virus, how it started and how it was allowed to spread across the world. Thanks a lot for watching. That's a wrap on Plain Speak. I'll join you again tomorrow.
In charge of the portfolios while he's in the jail, along with Satyendra Jain, as well as many others, to be seen as somebody with them asking votes, especially somebody who comes from a anti-corruption background. Okay. I mean, that was the genesis of this party, wasn't it? That's why all of us were there. You know,
I think that's a fair point to ask, that you can't go to Gujarat or to Karnataka or Rajasthan or wherever else Aam Aadmi Party wants to expand next, Ishkaran Bhandari, and ask for votes in the name of an anti-corruption plank when two of your most important ministers are in jail. Now, again, no one is saying that they are guilty. Nothing has been proven in a court of law. These cases have not gone to trial yet. But you cannot, in the court of public perception, you cannot be asking for the votes of people on an anti-corruption plank when two of your closest ministers are in jail.
Zaka, if you are pronounced guilty, then it's a matter of law that you cannot hold office. Judgments have come if you are pronounced guilty for more than 2 years. So this is obviously a morality area. And we have travelled a lot from the days of Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri, who resigned for a railway accident, even though that cannot strictly be ascribed to the minister. And in this case, Mr. Satyendra Jain's case, a PIL was moved in the Delhi High Court, where the Delhi High Court dismissed that PIL, saying that it's the cabinet, the chief minister's decision to keep somebody in the cabinet or not cabinet. They didn't want to interfere in it. They didn't want to usurp the powers of the chief minister. But increasingly, it would have become untenable if a minister like Mr. Sisodia in jail with 18 portfolios, and further petitions would have been filed, which would probably caused further embarrassment, whatever be the legal decision. Thus, I think it is not an extraordinary thing for them to have resigned. But what is interesting in this case is, as you started the debate, why one person's resignation was not taken for 9 months, why the other person resigned in 2 months, Delhi being the capital and the political capital. There would be a lot of speculation on that, which is for Aam Aadmi Party to answer. But definitely, as a practice, morality, a person in jail should not be a minister, be it from any party.
No, Manasvi Thapar, one other question that Delhiites are asking tonight is, why is the Chief Minister not taking any of these portfolios? Between Manish Sisodia and Mr. Satyendra Jain, they controlled more than 20 portfolios. The Chief Minister is a Chief Minister without any portfolios. I mean, people of Delhi did not vote for Kailash Gehlot or for R.K. Anand. They voted for Kejriwal. Why is Mr. Kejriwal not taking any portfolios?
Zaga, it's a very interesting question, but the reality is lots of chief ministers don't take up lots of portfolios. While Modi ji was the chief minister of Gujarat, he did not have the most of the cabinet ministry. While people voted for him, the ministers keep on changing and the ministry keep on shuffling while he was here in Gujarat. So it's upon the chief minister, it's upon the cabinet council. But the reality is, I think it's a great step when there is an allegation, when there is a pre-trial until you are proven guilty. While the trial is on, you resign for your position. It's a great step from Lal Bahadur Shastri. Right now we are seeing Manish Sisodia doing it. It reminds me of the case of Lakhimpur Kiri, where Ashish Mishra did not resign while his son was still there.
No. Manasvi, once again, let me reframe my question. Of course, it's the prerogative of the Chief Minister. He can decide who's part of the cabinet. He can decide which portfolio goes to who, and if he so chooses, he doesn't want any portfolios, that's up to him. But the point is this. When I say people of Delhi voted for Kejriwal, they did not vote for Kejriwal to go and campaign in Gujarat or campaign in Punjab or campaign in Maharashtra. They want Kejriwal to run Delhi. The business of running Delhi had been effectively given to Mr. Sisodia and now to Mr. Gehlot. Mr. Gehlot controls, I think, about more than 10 portfolios. He is de facto running the administration of Delhi while Mr. Kejriwal is busy expanding the party. That's the intent of my question.
Zaka, you are bang on that, but the same question could be reframed in a way that why does the Prime Minister go to different states to campaign, and he's the biggest campaigner of this country, and BJP is proud of him to be a campaigner. While he's the Prime Minister of the country, his business is to run the country. He is still the biggest campaigner and the most campaigned person in this country right now since 2014, I think before that, while he was in Gujarat. So that's upon the personality, that's upon the party to decide, that's upon the state to the council members to take a decision on that. And if this is the question on Arvind Kejriwal, this could be a bigger question on the Prime Minister of this country.
Shahji, answer that, because at the end of the day, I mean, if Prime Minister Modi can go to Karnataka and to Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, wherever elections are due, and campaign and become the biggest mascot and the election campaign chief of the BJP, then why are you accusing Kejriwal of doing the same thing? He's free to go expand his party.
Yeah, he's free to go and expand his party as he does, and he has. But the fact of the matter is, our Prime Minister has several portfolios which he looks after, and of course, this need to compare everything with the Prime Minister. I mean, you can't fault it on any ground, but the fact of the matter is that while even if he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, were there any state ministers who went to jail? Was there any corruption? Was there any scam under the watch of CM Modi ji and as the PM too?
Again, a very straightforward, simple question. Today you knocked on the doors of the Supreme Court. The court said it's not procedural. Go to the High Court. You have exhaustive legal remedies. Exhaust them first and then you come knocking on our doors. Why did it take 10 months for Satyendra Jain to tender his resignation, and why has it taken all of 2 days for Manish Sisodia to tender his resignation? What is going on?
Good evening, everyone. See, the portfolio of Satyendra Jain was being handled by Manish Sisodia ji, and we are still expecting, and we were expecting that Satyendra Jain will be out soon, but it's been more than 6 months, 8 months now.
watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. The shootout in Prayagraj has sent shockwaves across Uttar Pradesh. On February 24th, Umesh Pal, the prime witness in the 2005 murder of BSP MLA Raju Pal, was killed outside his residence in broad daylight. The police is tracking the criminal nexus behind this murder and is hunting for gangster turned politician Atiq Ahmed's son, Atiq Ahmed, who was caught on CCTV cameras at the scene of the crime. Atiq Ahmed, who is currently in an Ahmedabad jail, is the main accused in the killing of Raju Pal, and police suspect he masterminded Umesh Pal's murder. Now, Yogi Adityanath's signature bulldozer justice has returned. Atiq Ahmed's ancestral home as well as property belonging to his aides were demolished in Prayagraj. Addressing the Uttar Pradesh Assembly today, Yogi Adityanath hit out at the Samajwadi Party, saying while his government gave one Make in India product to each district of UP, the Samajwadi Party gave one mafia to each district. Yogi Adityanath also slammed the party for its political support to Atiq Ahmed, who served as a 5-time Samajwadi Party MLA and member of the Lok Sabha. Yogi Adityanath vowed that mafia Raj ko mitti mein mila denge. The opposition has hit back at the Yogi government, accusing it of indulging in political optics and targeting innocent people instead of maintaining law and order in the state. Raids continue across Uttar Pradesh to track down the suspects involved in Umesh Pal's murder. On Monday, one of the key accused, 25-year-old Arbaz, was gunned down by the police in an encounter in Prayagraj. Police also arrested a 27-year-old Ghazipur native, Sadakat Khan, for his alleged involvement in the murder conspiracy. This sparked another political war, with the BJP releasing a photograph of Samajwadi